for this trip arriving here again. So while I was in Costa Rica, I was mainly traveling by bus, but now it will be flights, buses, car, rickshaws, flights again, and so on. I just survived 2 days without sleep again. Actually, the gig went well tonight, and I was very lucky because I was thinking about an idea how I can support the Godawan on the event, which wasn't planned. So actually on my gig I had this idea to use 2 of the photos of the Godawan to show to the people and also to tell them about my idea supporting the conservation program in Kach for the Profit Foundation for the GRBs. So they were really happy for me to announce this, and they actually made a mess of this picture because they've been dancing around with these pictures, and it was a great feeling for me to see the people appreciating actually to know about this project and to save this Indian bird. It's like from some kind of horror movie or thriller. So I guess by tomorrow or end of tomorrow you will actually doubt your question that you asked me about is there many birds or there is not many birds in the grassland areas. There is many. Where are we now? Is this Nalia? No.
Yeah, this is a place about Tera, T-E-R-A. Yeah, there's a place called Tera.
We could just make the turn into the next street here. I believe people have no car here, right? So finally, after almost a full day of traveling, let me check the time. It is almost 12. So let's add 4 hours, which is 20 hours of traveling from a hotel Zuri in Bangalore to the airport, taking the plane to Mumbai, then the next one to Ahmedabad, and then the next bus 3 hours later to Bhuj, and the driver taking us almost 2 hours to Nalia. We arrived. This is not Nalia directly, but this is Tira or Tyra. And it is indeed very cold here. We have really cold, strong winds. It's about, what was it, like 5 degrees? And fortunately they have thick blankets, so it's not the feathery blankets, but I hope we'll make it tonight, even though I think I will leave my clothes on. After not sleeping for these more than 2 days, I feel pretty much awake again. And I'm actually ready to go out for a night walk, and maybe let's he's not gonna come.
Really?
It's freezing.
We got up very early in the morning again to drive out to the grasslands of the Greater Run of Kutch, a special bird area in Gujarat, which is close to the Pakistan border. Sun is just rising and we are heading out to find the GIB, short for the Great Indian Bustard, the largest of India's critically endangered birds. And this is a tawny eagle male. A really huge eagle with a wingspan of more than 170 centimeters, which can live up to 45 years. It's similar to the steppe eagle, but smaller and paler, and this is the Indian subspecies Vintiana, and I've seen them here as a couple on their nest before I started filming. The yellow wattled lapwings are endemic to India and are relatively easy to find in good grasslands. They have no subspecies, but their size increases from south to north. Many years I have been dreaming of seeing sand grouses in the wild, and there they are. Just right next to our car and plentiful. These are chestnut-bellied sand grouses, which seem to be common birds in this area, but even though not easy to find. We were very lucky, as another bird group has been here a few days ago, only to see them, and wasn't able to see them within 2 days of searching. Oops, yes, I feel lucky, definitely. Sand grouses are a very interesting bird family to me. On one hand, they resemble the grouse group, on the other, they look like pigeons, feathered, very short legs, and all kind of interesting camouflage colors. This is a male. It's more sandy-like. This is a female, more camouflaged. It actually occurs alongside a narrow strip of the sub-Saharan Africa and Pakistan and India, and also in some scattered populations alongside coasts of the Middle East, and was introduced into the US. These are typical semi-desert grassland and scrubland birds, and their breeding season is heavily influenced by the level of local rainfall. And they put their nest with 3 to 4 eggs on the ground, and both parents incubate. The little chicks are very active from hatching, but are unable to fly large distances, so they must rely on their parents for water. So this is a sand grouse specialty. Adults fly to water holes in the morning and with sundown to drink and to soak up water in their breast feathers and leave back to the chicks, which drink the water from their breast feathers. Adult sand grouses can make daily flights up to 16 kilometers to find water. This is Asia's largest antelope, the nilgai. It's commonly seen in central and north Indian farmlands and scrub forests, and they weigh between 109 to 300 kilograms. Wow! So we're now actually in the wintering area of the GIB, the Godawan, and we are trying to find it actually since a while, and we are standing in front of a bush. Such a kind of bush the GIB needs in the winter time to actually hide and protect himself from the cold winds which are happening here. And I must say, even though it's looking sunny, it's very, very cold on my ears, so it's getting a little heated up now. We have time of, it's almost 10 o'clock, but once we got here at 8, it was very cold. I'm standing here with one person from the Corbett Foundation. He's called Deepak. And can you tell me something about this area, about the GIB here? Deepak told me that this is the GIB wintering ground and that they had seen 2 females right here just 2 days ago. I had to edit this talk because of the strong winds. He told me that the GIB eats the same food in the winter as in the summertime and that it mainly consists of insects, especially some particular beetles and even some little snakes, and a variety of berries also from this bush here. 20 years ago, some people came over to make a counting on the wolf population here and also counted 44 GIBs in this area during their survey.
Okay, because actually in India you have different types of lands. You might have a private owned land, which is not the big majority of land.
But the government land is like actually divided into parts. You have the revenue land, which is kind of not used. But some people make use of it illegally, and later on they might claim it's their own land because they're already growing crops there. The revenue land is some kind of wastelands, which is like used for nothing, they think. Then you have the forest department land, which is actually protected wildlife area, and most sightings of the great Indian bustards are not in the protected areas, but rather in the revenue lands. So actually what we need to do is convince the politicians to convert revenue land to forest department land, and that they have the protection there, because most of the sightings of them are just in areas like this and wastelands, which means it's less interaction with human beings. So they have the best habitat here, but that might change if it's not protected here soon. We are still in the wintering area of the GIB, and I'm here with Salim Mohammed, and he is actually the forester of this area. So he is the one that knows actually where to find the birds and where is everything going on here. I would like to know from you, how is the situation with the GIB? When did it change that the birds moved from here? Until how many years did you still see many GIB? When did they start to vanish from this area?
The farmer was spray the pesticide on land.
Yeah.
The small beetles are dead. The dead beetles are eaten by GI.
Okay, so one of
The main sources for the GIB to eat the beetles are all killed by pesticides they put for the cotton farming now. So that is a really bad impact. That is not the pesticides themselves that affect the bird, but it's the food that they need to eat, which is killed by the farmers. I'd like to thank you for this information, and actually I want to do my best for helping you guys to protect this species. And I don't know yet how I can make this possible, but I mean, it's like the most royal bird of India, and now it's the most critically endangered bird of India, and it has a size like this. It's tall like this, yeah?
Deepak is collecting some of the favorite fruits of the GIB, right? Which we're having here. How are they called?
It's a boar. In Gujarati, say boar.
Bor. Okay. And these little fruits, they are very delicious. I have to try them. Okay. So let me see how they taste.
In the middle of nowhere, it seemed to me, we came across this puppy family. I wondered how they survived here and where their parents were. But I was told that these are puppies from the sheep or goat herders' dogs, which stay close at daytime to the people's home. And at night, when they all return, they also get food. So did we. Feed them with some white bread. None of them looked skinny though. Not sure where all of these will go later, but for now, they seem to have a much better life than most of the Indian street dogs. Another group of common cranes are passing us by. Wish I could zoom in more. Seeing cranes fly is definitely a special feeling, at least for me. And another flock of sand grouses flying to the nearby waterhole to drink. And look, aren't they cute? Here is a large stacker eagle in flight, carrying a branch with it for building its nest. It didn't seem to move, but the strong winds here were shaking it around a lot. It lays 1 to 3 eggs in the tree nest and favors open, dry habitats. This is the red-wattled lapwing once again, a really common seen wader in India. And on my trip to Rajasthan, I have even seen them on train stations. Wonder if they sometimes take the train to travel from one state to another? In some rural regions in India, women collect cow shit to use it for heating and cooking. We are back in Tera and driving alongside one of the functional lakes here. The rural villages used to have 3 lakes as water resources created by government. This here is for washing clothes at one side and going bathing on the other side, as houses here have no running water. Lake 2 is assumed to be drinking water and Lake 3 drinking water for the cows. People here put chloride tablets in the drinking water, and I wouldn't even think about drinking this pollutioned algae water. But people here have no other choice. Some Indian buffaloes passing by returning home with their huge horns. It's good to see that the cruelty of unhorning cows is not happening worldwide. Water buffaloes were already domesticated in India about 5,000 years ago. After our morning search for the GIB, on which we again were not lucky to see it, we went to the Jaghow salt pans, a coastal area nearby where we were supposed to see some good numbers of large water birds. Look at this common crane family. The juvenile in the middle is still missing the adult's head coloring, and I filmed them on 2 days in search for food, wondering which kind of roots or plants they were trying to dig out of the dry ground. The common cranes are medium-sized birds and have 2 subspecies, whereas the eastern subspecies is a little smaller in size. It's mainly found in northern parts of Europe, that's why it has its second name, Eurasian crane, and Asia. It migrates seasonally and breeds in Europe, mainly in Scandinavia. But main breeding populations, with possibly more than 100,000 birds, are found in Russia. So it's a long-distance migrant bird and predominantly winters in northern Africa. It's omnivorous and mainly eats plant matter. Most of the time, the pairs stay together for several years unless a mate dies. Even in long-year couples, the courtship rituals are enacted by every pair each spring, and it's a beautiful crane dance. It usually lays its 2 eggs in May and incubates it 30 days. one of the 4 crane species worldwide which is not classified as threatened by extinction. These cranes seem to live up between 30 and 40 years. Here is some lesser flamingo juveniles. It's mainly occurring in sub-Saharan Africa, but also has another population here in India. It's a smaller species of flamingos and mainly feeds on spirulina algae, same as I eat daily for vitamins. So we have something in common, I guess. They might also feed on shrimps. In the earlier days, they seemed to breed in Kach as well, but for now only in the northwest regions of India. This is a quick and beautiful sunset at the Jakhau salt pans and mudflats. Actually, I'm here in Jakhau salt pan area. It's a coastal area, but there is no beaches and so on. This area is full of water birds, and I made some amazing flamingo photos from there. I enjoyed looking at this for me new seashore habitat and was a bit sad about missing the black-necked storks since we arrived here too late, and the GIB of course, and wondered if all those wind energy here is not putting any damage on the bird populations. Next day, next chance. I just couldn't believe that I would miss the GIB twice. The Kutch area is one of the topmost bird-watching destinations in India. Around 370 bird species are assumed to live here, and it's particularly rich in raptors, waterfowl, waders and larks. This area mainly looks like wasteland, which attracts a wide variety of wintering birds. This beautiful Indian gazelle is the chinkara. Even though listed as least concern, hunting of chinkaras is banned since 2011. Due to that, you might like to get a glimpse of this very shy mammal in its protected areas in India. It can go without water for long periods and can get sufficient fluids from plants and dew. believed to live in the district of Kach. This colorful Afro-Eurasian bird is the hoopoe. First time I see it in the wild and thought it to be a kingfisher by far distance, and indeed it belongs to the same classification of birds, the Coraciformes clade. It has 9 recognized subspecies and this year is a nominated one. It's found in northwest India and it's a migratory species here. Its diet is mainly composed of insects and sometimes small reptiles, frogs, seeds and berries are taken as well. Territorial fights between males can be quite brutal, and the nests are found in trees or wall holes. It's a state bird of Punjab. We are driving through Abdul's display ground. Abdul is the alpha male of the 2 known males in Kach and believed to be 9 years old. Some weeks ago, some Indian politician came to Kach to check the status of the GIBs. During their 2-day search, they only managed to find him, of which sighting he should actually been very lucky. But he told the crew, "If we shoot this bird, we can use this land for other purposes." Can you believe to hear this? Man, this was a huge eagle. I did recognize a tall dark shadow in front of the brush, but then it flew off. My friend thought it to be a dark morph of a stepper eagle, but I doubt it because of its size. In any case, we're still looking for Abdul, and I can only hope that we will find him today. The sightings are very sparse about GIBs. They're about to do some countings within the next weeks, with at least 100 people. Most of them are hired villagers that are paid for that. This variable wheat ear is the subspecies Capistrata, a winter migrant to Kach district.
So now we're actually still in the breeding ground of the alpha male, which is called Abdul. He's about 8 years of old age, and this area is actually massively huge, but everything is dry. So in the last rainy season they only had, instead of twice a week some rain, twice a rain in the whole rainy season, which is 3 months of time. We find this kind of birds all over the sanctuary actually, which is informing the people that go here or that might pass by that's actually important to save the GIB. I still want to find it actually. He must be around. Where are you, Abdul? I can't hear him.
The cattle egret has undergone one of the most rapid, wide-reaching natural expansions of any bird species. Ever endemic to Asia, Africa and Europe, it successfully colonized most parts of the rest of the world now. And anytime I see them, I realize I'm in the right climate zone. We are driving on through encroached revenue land with cotted non-endemic brush species by the Forest Department, which is a good action for the endemic flora and fauna here, if there would not be encroached land to both sides. This is a common babbler, which is found in dry open scrub areas mainly in India. They are often found in groups of 6 to 20 birds and feed on insects, berries and grain. They nest from May to July and put their nest in a thorny bush. Adults will often indulge in preening the neck and head feathers of other group members. This desert wheat ear is most possibly the only bird I managed to get sharp focused on film and photo. It belongs to the old world flycatchers and is a migratory insectivorous species and found in Central Asia, Pakistan and Northeast Africa, and is a winter migrant to India. here you see it packing insects from the ground, possibly ants. It has a large breeding range and the population seems to be stable. My assistant told me I was not allowed to make photos from this military area. So what? I guess a film worked as well. They just reported a sighting of 4 GIB within this area, but none of the Corbett team was allowed to check on them. So they've been waiting now for photos that one military guy made to send them over. This might bring up the population side up to 16 birds, but who knows, it's not the same birds. In whole India, there's just 1 GIB attached with solar powered transmitter now. Strange for me was to hear that most locals don't even know about the GIB, and for sure not about its status and importance for India's grasslands. The Corbett Foundation is putting road signs for the GIB and sometimes visiting schools to educate children about it, which seem to be the ones most interested in saving them. But in all the years these children could start to act, these few birds here could just have been vanished. This is a female Indian robin, which is a common widespread bird in India. The sighting of the GIB in a whole group of 12 was just here. In July 2012, in this area where I'm sitting here. So actually, we hope to find them here. Up to? This beautiful bird is the black drongo, common bird to India. They can have an interesting courtship with aerobatic chases and they may lock their wings and beaks together with the pair sometimes falling to the ground. Almost at the end of our second day tour we found a large goat herd again. I'm always fascinated by the colors and I had a look on internet, and which confused me was there are so many races actually in India. I love the hanging ears and their many colors, but these goats here are making some damage to the protected forestry department land. Our local guide recognized the young boy and called him over, telling him he knows his father and will have a serious talk about him and his bad behavior tomorrow. Uh-oh. This was more meant as a lesson for this little boy, and the other fellows were laughing because they got the joke. So he was told to move on with his goats back to the other side. I believe these borders are often crossed from people with their herds, especially this year when rainfall was so little. And this kind of trampling and overgrazing in protected areas, of course, has no good impact on the natural wildlife here.
So this is the second day, which is the last day in the vicinity of Nalia, which is the Kach area in Gujarat. And we especially came here to see my very endangered friend, the great Indian bustard. And it was a very pleasant stay with the people, they cared for us a lot. But unfortunately, we weren't able to see the bird at all. We made the sighting of several hoopoes, so this was a great thing that I was finally able to find the hoopoes, and some other cranes this morning, but no GRB.
Last night we went to Butch already to stay there with a horrible 2-hour local bus trip, and now this morning another 7-hour bus to Ahmedabad. What a stress here again. But I knew I could relax soon, as this 42-hour traveling trip is bringing me to the Andamans. Have a look at my South Andaman and Havelock Island video and hope you enjoy them. Yours, Kara.